It's wild how fast things can change. Just a few months ago, everyone was hyped about the idea of a Nintendo Switch 2, a true successor to one of the best-selling consoles of all time. But now, that excitement is starting to sour. We're seeing a growing number of Nintendo fans actually talking about boycotting the Switch 2, and not just as a joke. This isn't console war nonsense or some petty internet drama. This is something deeper. A lot of longtime Nintendo supporters are looking at what's happening and going, "Wait, hold on, when did this stop being fun?" Let's talk about why Nintendo fans, the most loyal fan base in gaming, are now the ones leading the charge against the next generation of the Switch. Alright, let's get the most obvious issue out of the way. The price of the games. Now I know, game prices have gone up across the board. We've seen $70 become the new normal for PS5 and Xbox Series X titles. But Nintendo? They've taken that idea and pushed it even further. The big rumor, and one that's already hit a nerve, is that flagship games like the next Mario Kart are going to be $80. Yes, $80. That's more than any standard edition game on any platform right now. And the wild part? It's Mario Kart, a game that's meant to be played by everyone. Kids, families, casual players, people who just want to have fun. Not some prestige cinematic action title. So when fans hear that Nintendo wants $80 upfront for a family party racer, and probably more for DLC down the line, it doesn't feel premium. It feels greedy. Let's not forget, Nintendo has always positioned itself as the family console. They're the company you can trust. Wholesome, affordable, safe for kids. But that image is starting to crack. Think about it. You've got an $80 Mario Kart game. You probably need 2 or more controllers, which are what, $70 a pop for Joy-Cons? Online play requires a subscription, even for simple multiplayer. And now, they're apparently charging $10 for the game manual? A physical booklet that most companies either include or ditch entirely? It's starting to feel like every part of the experience is monetized, and not in a smart way, in a you're squeezing us for every penny way. Nintendo might still act like the friendly neighborhood game company, but their pricing is starting to feel more like a luxury brand. Yeah, let's actually pause on that manual situation, because it's small, but it really sums up the bigger problem. For years, physical game manuals have been disappearing. That's fine. Most games include tutorials or digital help. But now Nintendo is apparently offering a physical manual for $10 extra. That's not a collector's edition. That's not a deluxe hardcover art book. That's just the manual. Fans aren't upset because they desperately need a manual. They're upset because this is symbolic. It shows where Nintendo's priorities are right now. And it's not with the players. Here's another thing that's making people hesitate. The Switch OLED, the upgraded version of the original, is now regularly on sale for under $300. So now Nintendo's telling people to ditch that perfectly good system and upgrade to a more expensive console. One that costs more and has more expensive games but hasn't proven it's delivering significantly more value. And that's where the doubt really starts creeping in. If the current Switch still works well and you can buy its games cheaper, why upgrade? This starts to look less like the future of gaming and more like a cash-in while they still can. Let's talk Mario Kart, because that's the one that really seems to have pushed people over the edge. Look, Mario Kart is the Nintendo game. It's fun, simple, easy to get into, and it usually comes packed with content. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe had 48 tracks after the DLC, tons of characters, battle mode, online, and it all ran great. But now with this new Mario Kart, which some are calling Mario Kart World, we're seeing a much more ambitious project. An open-world Mushroom Kingdom, interconnecting tracks, tons of characters, costumes, and wild mechanics. That all sounds amazing, until you realize the price tag and what it implies. Because this kind of scope, it screams DLC plans, it screams expansions, it screams microtransactions or battle passes down the line. Fans aren't upset that the game is ambitious. They're upset that ambition now comes at a huge cost, one that they're being asked to pay up front without knowing what's even coming. Another problem people are pointing out is DLC in an open-world game, and the logistical mess it creates. If Mario Kart is now one big connected world, then adding new content isn't as simple as it used to be. You can't just drop in a new track on a menu. You have to connect it physically to the world, make sure it doesn't break progression or balance, and then what? Do people without the DLC just see a blocked path? It creates a nightmare scenario for future updates. Either the game world becomes messy and inconsistent, or the DLC is just a separate menu, which kind of defeats the point of the open world idea in the first place. So fans are looking at all this and thinking, yeah, this sounds cool, but it's gonna get complicated and expensive. Here's the core of it all. Nintendo fans have been insanely loyal. They've put up with delayed online services, outdated hardware, weird decisions, Joy-Con drift, friend codes, the list goes on. But the thing that made people stay was the magic. The games were charming, the hardware was unique, and it always felt like Nintendo respected the joy of play. Now with Switch 2, a lot of fans are saying, this doesn't feel magical anymore. It feels like a business. And honestly, they're not wrong to feel that way. So what now? Well, boycotting Nintendo is easier said than done. Their IPs are beloved. Mario, Zelda, Splatoon, Animal Crossing, these aren't just games, they're memories. But if Nintendo keeps pushing higher prices, monetizing basic features, and treating its fanbase like an ATM, they might learn that even the most loyal fans have a breaking point. The Switch 2 might still be great. It might blow us away. But right now, Nintendo's got some serious trust to earn back. Let me know what you think in the comments. Are you still excited for the Switch 2? Or are you feeling burned by what we're seeing so far? If you enjoyed this breakdown, consider liking and subscribing. I'll be following this story closely and covering all the updates as we learn more. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.